Coming up, the August 2025 Gentleman Junkie giveaway knife. In the state of the collection, we look at some oldies but goodies as I take a look at some of my favorite Japanese-made Spydercos. And then zombie apocalypse grab-and-go fixed blades. I'm Bob DeMarco. This is the Knife Junkie podcast.
Welcome to the Knife Junkie podcast, your weekly dose of knife news and information about knives and knife collecting. Here's your host, Bob the Knife Junkie DeMarco.
Welcome back to the show. One of my favorite comments from this past week from the Joseph Bandico interview was, what a great knife maker. He has so many years to make such cool stuff. That was from Jason Small. I agree. I cannot wait to see what Joseph does in the future. He's a young guy and he's made some outstandingly beautiful knives so far. So look forward to seeing what the future brings. OG Blade Reviews, Dave, second week in a row, one of my favorite comments. He says, beautiful work of art from such a young man. Buy them now and be guaranteed a lifelong investment. Good advice, sage advice from Dave, OG Blade Reviews. But not only is this good advice from the perspective of someone who knows, it's good advice from the perspective of someone who's been there. Because Dave and I have had many a conversation where he has bemoaned the past sale of knives he wished he still had. And I'm thinking right now of a Terzuola fixed blade that he wishes he still had. So buy early, get in on the ground floor of people like Joseph Bandico, and they're just kind of coming out, get some sweet knives, and then watch them grow from there. All right. Thank you one and all for watching this past week. Really appreciate it. Love the likes, the comments, and all that. I love finding out what you're carrying, where your mind is, and all that. So be sure to continue with that. All right. That means it's time for a pocket check.
What's in his pocket? Let's find out. Here's the Knife Junkie with his pocket check of knives.
In my front right pocket, a classic. This is one that I was showing off last week. The Spyderco Police. This is the classic model. Right now, they're up to the Spyderco Police #4. They have all sorts of lightweight models. They have all different steels and everything like that. But this is the one that started it all. It started the Police lineup and a lot of the similar knives that came after it. But it also started my real love for clipped single hand opening pocket carry. I told the story. I saw a guy that I thought was so cool when I was a young man in Philadelphia, carrying one of these, pulled it out, used it, put it back, all with one hand. And I was like, oh my gosh, how do I do that? So I've always wanted one of these fully serrated Spyderco Police models. Finally got one in all of its 4.125-inch VG10 glory at the Willie Knife Shop in Delaware a couple weeks ago. I love this thing. It is a little heavy, but it's nice and thin. So, it's heavy, but it's not out of bounds heavy, if you will. All right, right next to it, clipped to the very same pocket seam, something I've been doing lately, was this, an in the pocket fixed blade knife. And this, of course, is the brand new JW Kollab Collusion. JW Kollab is Jack Wolf Knives' production branch that collaborates with established knife designers and makers. This is the second in that lineup, and this is a collaboration with Jacob Ginsberg, goes by Jacob Creates on Instagram. Been following him for years. I love his fixed blade knives, so clean, such great lines, and this is no exception. So this is basically a Jacob Ginsberg design with Ben Belkin production knowledge and experience backing it up. Really beautiful. This is S90V blade steel. You've got a nice hollow ground blade, and this is PVD coated on this black version with that gorgeous purple Kieranite. It is just a beautiful handle, beautiful production altogether. You've got this nice sort of snake lanyard fob here with an anodized titanium bead on it. Really beautiful, and an excellent stout and sturdy leather sheath set up for pocket carry. So I had that right next to this in my front right pocket. In my waistband, riding appendix, which is something I don't do that much these days, was this, and it rides very comfortably there. This is the Fisher Blades McNasty. This is their new dagger, and it's a tribute to James McNasty McNeese, who was a paratrooper during World War II, led a group of irregulars called the Filthy 13, who did a lot of, sort of commando style stuff. I wonder if Inglorious Bastards wasn't a bit inspired by James McNeese. But anyway, really, really beautiful blade. It's an inch and 3¼ inches of N690 blade steel, that Bowler N690. Beautifully done, very symmetrical quad bevels with very sharp edges, no sharpening choil, so it's not going to get snagged up in clothing or whatever you're thrusting this into. Really nice high traction G10 with red liners and jimping in all the right spots. You have it right up there under the guard quillions on both the top and the bottom. Same thing with the pommel here. Great place for jimping. Also, just fantastic spot to put the thumb, and that's definitely what you want if you're using this in reverse grip. A really great knife, and this excellent low profile sheath works really well. The notch on the blade fits in the tab right there. It's on one side, so all you got to do is kind of push down ever so slightly on the sheath, and the blade pops right out. All right, last up, on me for emotional support, one I haven't carried in quite a while. This is the Bastinelli Big Dragotac. I've been into my big cold steels lately. I mean, I guess I always am, but currently I'm on a little tear with my large cold steels. And now I'm anxious to just close up all the gaps, get the last few large XL cold steels in my collection. But I was thinking about other large knives I have and pop this in my pocket/bag. So it went back and forth today. This is a beautiful sort of Sachs design, sort of modified sheep's foot or Wharncliffe, whatever you want to say. But it is tactical all day long. It's got a great handle where, like similar to the cold steels, you have a number of different places you can grab. You can come down here for a little bit of standoff range. You can come up here to this main section. You can even, if you need to, kind of put your finger in that little area to do close-up stuff. But I mean, probably with this knife, you're not going to have to do that. This is one of the earlier productions of this made by Lion Steel in Italy. This is D2 blade steel. Now they're up to M390 blade steel. Also, the new ones have a contoured handle. This is just flat slabs. So really nice pocket check today, if I do say so myself. Some pretty unique and different blades. That's one of my things about pocket carry. My pocket carry on a daily basis. I prefer to have everything be from a different company, and I prefer everything to have different blade shapes. I managed that this time. Doesn't always work out. So today I had the Spyderco police model. I had the new JW Kollab Collusion, both in the same pocket. I had in the waistband the McNasty by Fisher Blades, really, really cool everyday carry dagger. And then, of course, for my ESK today was the beautiful Big Dragotac from Bastinelli Knives. What did you have on you? Let me know. Drop it in the comments below. I always love hearing about that. That's always one of my favorite parts of Thursday Night Knives, is when people start telling me what they've been carrying all day. All right, for August 2025, if you're watching this show the day it drops, tomorrow evening, that's the third Thursday of August 2025, that is the 21st, we're giving this away to one lucky Gentleman Junkie. Gentleman Junkie is the high tier of support on our Patreon page. And if you are a Gentleman Junkie at the top tier of support on Patreon, every third Thursday of the month, you're entered into a very special giveaway drawing that we do on Thursday Night Knives. Now, we give away a lot of knives on Thursday Night Knives, But the third Thursday is reserved for the extra special stuff. And this is extra special. This is a custom handmade clip point or Bowie blade from Shane at Edgy American Blade Works. Shane famously hates clip point blades and Bowie blades, but he made this one just for us because he knows I love Bowies and he knows that a lot of our audience are Bowie fans. So he figured, why not give the people what they want, just like the Kinks, and make them a really nice EDC Bowie. It comes with this beautiful 1931 Leatherworks sheath. If you're a frequenter to Thursday Night Knives, you'll recognize that logo. Really beautifully done sheath. It's all molded really nicely to fit. And you get this. It's similar to that Joseph Bandico comment. You will be on the ground floor of something big. Edgy American blades ain't going anywhere. And every time I see Shane, his skills have gotten better and better. And I am loving this clip point blade. So I'm really much looking forward to getting this given out to one lucky gentleman junkie. So Patreon, we have a lot to offer at Patreon, not just things like knife giveaways, but interview extras, which are really awesome. Every interview we do, we get another 15 or 10, 15, 20 minutes sometimes of interview with the guest, and we get to stuff we weren't able to talk about, or, you know, sometimes maybe it's stuff that's not fit for mass consumption. So the patrons get a little bit more of everything from Knife Junkie podcast. So go over and check that out. Another thing we do is the knife notes, which Jim has been putting up loyally, which are really awesome. People are loving the knife notes, but I'm not sure if people have noticed yet. We've had a couple of Fridays with the Friday funnies. So all knife oriented, knife themed comics that Jim comes up with, and those go up on Friday. So it's a little community over there at Patreon. A lot of interesting stuff happening. That's like Scab with his Blueberry Wilders lemonade right there. Yeah, so go check us out, TheKnifeJunkie.com/Patreon. See all the stuff you get in return for your support of this show, which we greatly, greatly appreciate. Really does help us. As does sharing the show. Lots of ways you can help this show. So go to TheKnifeJunkie.com/Patreon and check it out. Again, that's TheKnifeJunkie.com/Patreon.
Adventure Delivered, your monthly subscription for hand-picked outdoor, survival, EDC, and other cool gear from our expert team of outdoor professionals. TheKnifeJunkie.com/BattleBox.
You're listening to the Knife Junkie podcast. And now here's the Knife Junkie with the Knife Life News.
First up in Knife Life News from the ever-productive, prolific Boker knives. They have a new one now called the Rusticus, which I love. Rusticus Maximus. This thing's going to rust on you in a heartbeat. Just kidding. It's Rusticus because it's rustic. It's kind of like a farmer's knife. This one reminds me a bit of the Opinel and other sort of peasant/farmer knives. This is a cool little one that I somehow feel compelled to get. I haven't gotten it, but I think it's cool. So it's a knife that sort of straddles the line between old and new in terms of aesthetics and function of a folding knife. 3.13 inches of 420 HC, which, as we know from Buck, can be a great steel. This one's got a nail neck, super thin, similarly ground, full flat ground to a Opinel. You got that drop point. I'd call it a clip point, but everyone's calling it a drop point, so I'm not going to die on that hill. Stabilized beechwood handle, also similar to a Opinel, but this one has a liner lock. So the offside has a liner lock, but instead of having a lock bar cutout so that you can access that lock bar with your thumb, this one is like an old school liner lock where it has a tab that protrudes from the profile of the handle. So to disengage it, you can see maybe there right above the pivot, a little arcing piece of copper there. That's the lock. So a cool, inexpensive little Opinel style knife coming from Boker called the Rusticus. This thing is available now, and I don't know why, but it's just a temptation to me. It's just a cool little knife. Maybe I'll see if it can accidentally drop in my Amazon cart, if they have it on Amazon. Next up, we've got two stories from KA-BAR. First one is the Slabby. I don't know why it makes me giggle, but I like the name, the Slabby. Now, this is the full tang USMC fighting / utility knife, frequently known, like Kleenex, as the KA-BAR. But in this case, KA-BAR brand is who we're talking about. And you see here in this picture of this beautiful knife, you see a blade that is very, very, very much like a standard KA-BAR blade, a nicely swedged and fullered clip point blade, modern Bowie, if you will. But as you go aft of this on this design, you'll see it doesn't have the stacked leather handle. It has two bolts in the handle on that contoured handle slab. Yeah, that's GRN, and yeah, that's a full tang knife there. So the Slabby, of course, it's slab construction. That's another expression, another term for full tang. So the blade and the handle, all the way from the tip of the blade to the pommel of the handle, is all one piece. 6.8 inches of 1095 Crovan steel. That's the KA-BAR go-to. Clip point with traditional fuller. GFN handle scales bolted on, single quillion guard, so that you can bring that thumb up onto the back of the blade. This one reminds me a little bit of the dog head KA-BAR. A lot of people have mentioned that. It also has, similar to the dog head, that teardrop shaped pommel that could be very handy for pounding and using like a hammer. Comes with a plastic sheath. I'm not sure what type of plastic it is, but it's that sort of molded plastic. It looks like it has one of those little buzzkill release thumb notches on it that you see on some Spartan knives. Sorry, I just went blank there. I don't like that. I like to be able to tug a knife out of a sheath, even if it's got really high retention, without having to actuate a mechanism like a thumb release, like you see here on this. But that would be my only, never having picked this up or held it, that would be my only one ding of this knife. Okay, next, also from KA-BAR, but also KA-BAR and Les George, one of my absolute favorite knife makers, designers. He's a great human being, too. Former Marine Les George, very, very famous knife maker and designer. He's got a line of 3 new knives coming out with KA-BAR with the cheesily named cool name line. It's obvious they couldn't come up with a name for it. And Les George, who's got got a great sense of humor, was probably like, just call it the cool name. But so this lineup is called the Cool Name line, and its somewhat cheesy name belies its beautiful lines and character of these 3 knives. 4.25 inches on that top drop point, down to up to 4.6 inches on that heavily modified sheep's foot down on the bottom. In the middle, you have a 4.4 inch reverse Tanto is what they're calling it. Full tang, beautiful full tang, and that whole handle shape, that handle contour with the finger guard and the jimped thumb ramp. That is, you look at that, it is Les George all day long. As a matter of fact, the one on top looks somewhat like the VSEP. So very much Les George profiles here. The handle, a transparent smoke gray polycarbonate, and it comes with a Kydex sheath. Now, these are made in America and available now. All very cool. If I were to be tempted to buy one, it would be the drop point because it's so Les Georgy. All right, last up from We Knife Company. This one's called the Zentron. The Zentron. It's an in-house design, and man, their in-house designers are busy. They just keep coming out with such cool stuff designed in-house by We. This one, the Zentron, is an American Tanto, and a very pretty one. It's a drop point Tanto. 3.48 inches of M390 blade steel. You got a thumb stud and a flipper, and a hollow ground main portion, flat ground front portion. Drop point, as I mentioned, now that tip is not exactly center line, but it's not at the spine, so it's in a pretty useful spot there. The one that we're looking at on camera is just a beautiful anodized blue. This one comes in 4 different blue, anodizations. This blue comes in a dark gray, a full blackout where the whole thing is black, and then a plain Jane, kind of raw look. Sculpted titanium handle with all sorts of little divots and holes and contours. It's definitely to me, it's a busy looking handle, but I love the blade so much. Really nice looking, stout, sturdy, 4.6 ounces, and coming, quote unquote, soon. All right, that does it for Knife Life News this week. I'm really excited to check out everything new that comes out. I mean, whether I actually get it in hand or it's just exciting to see what comes out on Knife Life News. That's where I am. Like that new Boker Rusticus. I don't know why, but I think I got to have it. Yeah, and be sure to join us Thursday night for Thursday Night Knives. And we also have a newsletter, which I'm pretty good at least half the time, half the weeks. We have a newsletter coming out. So I don't bombard you with stuff, but it's always a nice little article with some pictures. And it's a good way for us to keep in touch with you, as is Patreon. Did I mention Patreon? All right, coming up, we have the state of the collection.
Want to sell your custom knives online? With LaunchCart, you can easily create your own e-commerce store. No coding required. LaunchCart is designed for knife makers like you, with built-in tools to showcase your craftsmanship, manage orders, and grow your brand. It's fast, flexible, and even includes low-cost payment processing to help you keep more of your profits. Start your online knife store today at TheKnifeJunkie.com/launch and turn your passion into a business.
And now that we're caught up with Knife Life News, let's hear more of the Knife Junkie podcast.
Second shot, I'm opening with this. So I've been carrying this police model Spyderco since I got it about almost 2 weeks ago. Really, really awesome knife. I've mentioned it up front. I really, really love it. One thing I love about it is this construction. The knives made in Japan by Cold Steel in Seki City, Japan by Spyderco, I'm sorry. Frequently are these lockbacks, and they're thin and tight, and they have a real, they have that feeling of super low tolerances. Everything is so close to everything else in that mechanism, and it just is super smooth. This one you can, lockbacks are not that fidgety, but this one you can one-handed close and open like a Cold Steel. And so it just made me think, what else do I have from Japan that is from Spyderco that I love? Since I didn't get anything new this week, I'm reflecting on something that is somewhat new, and that's this. And I thought, Japanese, and my mind first went to the oldies, which is a really cool knife that was kind of touted as part of the police lineup because it's got very much a very similar size envelope, the same length blade, and slightly longer handle, but designed by a former German police officer, Ulrich Hennecke. This knife was also manufactured in Japan. This is not around anymore, unfortunately. Such a cool looking knife. I remember when this one came out, I was like, that looks like a knife I should have designed, I thought, because it reminds me of a Filipino sword, sort of. So again, you've got that super tight, super low tolerance construction here with a back lock. Now, this one's always been somewhat stiff. I think I have experienced other oldies that haven't been. I think that's just this one in particular. But it lends itself even more to that feel of the Japanese-made Spydercos that I'm talking about. Super tight, super robust, but very svelte and slender. The next one I thought of was this one. My brother got this one for me a number of birthdays back. It was in my 40s at some point. But this is the large Persian. I'm going to show you on the spine again. Look at it. It's like one piece of metal, it looks like. But of course, those are liners, and then you've got the leaf spring in the middle. This one is an Ed Schempp design. And I always thought Ed Schempp's designs were really super awkward and somewhat ugly, gotta say. Now, Ed Schempp, this is in no way to diss him. He's a legend of the knife design, knife making world, and I have massive respect for him. I just kind of always thought that his knives were a little ugly and weird. But you know, that's neither here nor there. That's just my personal taste. This knife, which I also think is a little ugly and weird, is so good. This knife is so good. You have that downward angled bellied blade. You get a lot of shearing power from this, from the placement of the blade, the type of blade. And even though it's a Persian, that point is centerline. So you can use that point all day long with ease. You're not chasing after it, having it be a Persian. You're not having to tilt the knife like this to use that tip because it comes center line. Also because of the ergonomics and shape of the handle. So it puts the blade right in the right place. So again, ergonomics and tightness. It just has this tight feel. And by tight, I mean small tolerances, low tolerances. Clearances between moving parts are very, very tight without rubbing against one another. That is a desirable thing. All right. And then the last of the Japanese made, I was like, do I have any more? And then I realized, oh, yeah, all of the Enduras and Delicas and Indellas are made there. I have an Endura and 2 Delicas, but I figured I would pull out this Endura as it is by far the most used of any of my Spydercos, but also of those 3 models. Now, this one, when you're looking at it on the spine, you don't get the same sense of the tight tolerances that you do when you're looking at one of these knives that has the steel liners next to the locking leaf bar, because you just don't see how well they're hafted when you look at this plastic, the GRN. But this also super smooth, has a great action, great tolerances. This has always come apart and gone back together really well. This is one of the few Spyderco lockbacks I've taken apart a few times. They are a pain in the butt to get back together, I do have to say. But this one comes together really nicely. Everything perfectly aligned and milled. So I'm a huge fan of Spyderco. I come in and out of actually buying them, but I will never get rid of any of my Spydercos from here on out. It's a kind of a no sale list there. And I would like to acquire more of these Japanese-made Spydercos because they're just they're so tight and perfect. And if you want super loose bearing action, they're probably not for you. But if you like lockbacks, if you like that really tight tolerance kind of build, you will love these. The Ed Schempp Persian, you can occasionally see on eBay. These are pretty much gone. Same thing with the Uliza, but there are a host of other knives made in Japan by Cold Steel. Look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. Made by Cold Steel that you can get. So go check them out. All right. For this last segment, Zombie Apocalypse Grab and Go Fix Blades. Where's this coming from? Well, this is coming from a robust and lively conversation we had on Thursday Night Knives a few weeks back. I dropped that as the main question of the evening. What is your go-to? And go-to zombie grab and go fixed blade. This list, I'm gonna put some caveats on this list before we get going. This is not a survival knife list. Many of, if not most of these knives could be used as survival knives, but this is not me thinking practically like, oh, zombie apocalypse, I'll probably have to make fires and open up cans and like do all sorts of like regular stuff that people like soldiers do with their knives. They're not out there getting in knife fights all the time. So I put all that aside and said, no. This is about utility is the second line of work for these knives. These are for, you know, the kind of things you see people do in zombie movies with knives. So primarily, you have to be able to take off a head or to the brain with one of these knives to make it be an official zombie apocalypse grab and go blade. We can do other categories where we look at good survival knives and folders and stuff, but this is just where the rubber meets the road. And this first one is a tried and true legend in my collection. This is the Cold Steel Trailmaster Bowie knife. The contours of this blade have changed since I first got it. I've had this for about 30 years. It has, I have sharpened it and resharpened it. And the most recent time I sharpened it, probably 2 summers ago, was on a grinder. So I took a bit off because it had just gotten so worked in and dull, and I chipped it up a little bit. But this has been the most robust and well-used knife in my collection. I absolutely love it. It does have a full tang. That's a part of this. The reason I picked this and not the Natchez, which is a larger, more pleasing to the eye, more dramatic, and just a bigger, more head-lopping style Bowie knife. The reason I didn't choose it is it's got that cable tang, which I suspect is pretty damn strong, but it's not going to be as strong as a full tang. What's the cable tang? Cable tang means that it's got a tang that comes up to about here, and then there's a cable that's soldered from here to a screwing nut that goes into the pommel, and then it's tightened there, and it pulls the whole thing together. By all accounts, it's a pretty stout and sturdy tang setup, but it can't be stouter and sturdier than a full tang. This one has a tang that comes all the way down to around that lanyard hole. And I just know from years and years of batoning this and abusing this, it will go the distance. Plus, and this is a big plus, it's got a 0 ground swedge, so it's a great fighting knife, and it's light and lively in the hand. So it would make for a great fighting knife. Now, as I've said in the past, it's not the coolest, most dramatic fighting knife, but probably in the top 3 that I have across my entire collection, just because of how perfectly balanced it is and how it moves and the shape of the handle and even that grip. So it's not, if you get zombie slime on your hands, it's not going to slip out because you got that rubberized handle. If you don't have a Trailmaster Bowie from Cold Steel, you have to get one, even though you won't get it with this cool leather sheath probably, unless you look for one on eBay. It is a great knife. It's so worth having. And I keep sort of chastising myself for not getting another one, not having a second one on hand. So I probably should, because you never know. Things do go out of print, can I say. All right, next up, this was one you don't see often here, but this is this one I've had a long time, and I love this one. It used to be hanging on my desk right here, but I got a new desk and it doesn't anymore. This is the Ontario RTAK II wearing an aftermarket sheath. I don't remember who made that sheath, but I got the recommendation from a Nut and Fancy video. This is the Ontario Knife and Tool RAT 2, RTAK II. And I'm putting /Esee Junglass. My brother has an Esee Junglass. The knives are nearly identical. They're very, very similar. And really, it's a type of knife that I'm going for here. Now, I personally would say this over the Esee 6 or any of the other Esees that are shaped very much in this family, because this one is long. That's a 10-inch blade. It will span a neck for sure with a little room to spare. And I know that sounds very grim, but when you're talking zombie situation, you know what you got to do. And this will take care of that. It's thin. It's about 3/16 of an inch wide here. 1095 blade steel. It used to have a coating. I removed the coating. Really nice big handle. Gives you a lot of grip options in terms of you can be choked back, you can be choked up, you can even come into this choil here. This is a great one for giant hands. Do you have big sausage fingers, big meat hooks? This one will hook you up. You'll love the way this one feels. Even my medium-sized hands like the way this fills the hand. Beautiful drop point style blade. Also, in terms of pure survival, this is probably one of the best on this list, just as a pure survival knife. Also, long and thin enough to be a very effective machete type thing. So light vegetation, this works great. And you just put the lanyard around and you get this kind of chopping motion. Really, really nicely made. Okay, next up on this list, one of my recent favorites of all time. I mean, this is going way up on the list. This is from my good buddy Tim, TKell and TKell Knives. This is the Sapper. One of the smaller knives. There are two small knives on this list, and this is one of them. Small, that's a 6.5-inch blade, so it's not that small. That's, yeah. Sorry, dropping things. I just wanted to be sure now that I said 6.5. Yeah, it's like 6 3/4 inches. So nice big blade here. This is 80 CRV2, so a very tough and robust blade. One of the sharpest edges on a small production knife or any knife out there are the TKell edges. They're just so incredibly sharp. This one I got at Blade Show, and man, one of my greatest acquisitions from Blade Show. I just love this knife so much. This is the second iteration where they opened up the choil a little bit here, so useful in this regard. But I just love that deep recurve slashing blade and the center line point. That's a big feature of this knife, the Sapper, is that center line point. The original Sappers, the first production, had a line going etched in, similar to the way the logo is etched in, going from the point of the blade all the way to the ricasso, and lined up with those three holes there, those three bolts. So if you look directly down the knife like this from here and you line up the bolts, you know exactly where the tip is. And that's because Imre Morgenstern, an IDF soldier and ordnance disposal expert, is the guy who co-designed this knife with Tim. And the whole idea was to replace his, what did he have? I think he told me he had a KA-BAR that he did a bunch of stuff to make it good for searching for mines in the sand. But when he designed this one, he put that center line point there, the line on the blade, so they could always tell, even when the blade is submerged in sand, he could always tell exactly where the tip was from the indexing line that ran down the blade. That's no longer on this knife. But he also created a rounded pommel because the blade fits right in, or the handle fits right there into the hand, and you get this incredible feedback going straight up your forearm. So he wanted to make this rounded instead of like taping cloths to it. Anyway, that's the long story. This thing is full tang, another requirement of this list, full tang, and yeah, just robust as hell. Oh, comfortable. I'm going to be using that word robust a lot, I can tell, in this conversation. Super comfortable in hand with the grenade grips. And then a great sheath that is spec'd out for jumping out of airplanes. You can slide this up, crank this down, and that sheath is not coming out. It's just locked in there. So a really cool feature that you can find on a couple of the TKell knives. TKell knife is definitely a go-to-war style knife or a fight the zombies style knife. And the Sapper is the king as far as I'm concerned. All right, next up. Oh, this is a good one. From APOC Survival and Mike Wallace. This is the Smatchet, the APOC Smatchet. Based on the Fairbairn designed fighting implement from late World War I and used in World War II a little bit. The Smatchet, big leaf-shaped double-edged blade. I mean, it's obvious why this would be a great go-to grab-and-go apocalypse, zombie apocalypse knife. You've got two curved slashing surfaces, a 10-inch blade here. You can get some serious head swiping with this thing. And also it's got that center line point. It is essentially a giant dagger. So great thrusting with this. Very, very wide holes will be made with this. A super comfortable contoured G10 handle. Reminds me a bit of the handle of a Gladius, Roman Gladius, especially that pommel. Comfortable, really comfortable. These gentle finger wells here fit my hand well, and I know that they fit larger hands well too, as I've brought this one to work and had I have various people hold various knives, see how they like it because they're bigger than me. And this one is universally loved. It's got a great Kydex sheath that retains well, but you can just kind of drop it in, pull it out without the use of your other hand. So you might want to use that safety loop if you're not going to be pulling it in and out. Another great thing about this, and this might be counterintuitive because this is a double-edged weapon, but I feel like this would make for a very good tool too, like entrenching tool, maybe an ad hoc digging tool, just because it's so broad. And don't forget, even if you're using this for just survival, it gives you a whole second edge. So you gnarl up this edge doing your survival stuff, you turn it over, you use that edge. And you just be careful. All right, that is the APOC Smatchet, designed by Mike Wallace. Next up, this is the smallest on the list, but it has to be on there. This knife has me starry-eyed. This is the Very Good Knife Company First Strike. And this one, admittedly smaller than all the other ones, but would really go well on my belt in a zombie apocalypse, grab-and-go situation. It is a very sharp 80 CRV2. It is hollow ground, and let's see, 3/16 of an inch full tang all the way around, including the quillions of the guard, and a very nice point. The point is sharp and acute, but it is still sturdy. It's not a sharpened swedge, though I have seen these with a sharpened swedge. That would be cool. In this case, pretty much not needed. So great in the saber grip because it's got a longish handle, and you can kind of extend your thumb that way behind that guard there, or you can ride up here. This will pierce what you need it to. You know, I'm thinking in reverse grip up against a zombie. I think it would do very, very well. So that's why I was willing to go down this small. That's a 6-inch blade for this list, because I also feel like of all of them, it would make the best utility. It would make possibly the best all-arounder because it would make it for a great utility knife. But it would have some stiff competition with the larger and probably tougher Trailmaster. Beautiful knife. I like all of the Very Good Knife Company knives. I think this or the Eagle, maybe you know the Eagle, it's an outdoor sax. Very cool knife. They would all make great grab-and-go zombie apocalypse knives. Next up, I had to have something from Tops on this list, and I vacillated between the Prather War Bowie and this. and I decided on this. This is the Wild Pig Hunter in the beautiful leather sheath. I do love that sheath. Ultimately, I think this one would be a better zombie apocalypse knife for a couple reasons. It does have a guard, and I like that. The Prather War Bowie doesn't need one because it's got the blade is so much broader than the handle. The only thing is this one gives you one on the thumb side too. And if you're thrusting into matter and you don't want to get it all over your hands, and you definitely don't want to slide up, you might want that top guard. So the top guard, a super rigid blade. This is intended for stabbing wild boars to death, basically. So it's got a really stout cross section. In cross section, it's kind of like an I-beam with a ridge down the center. This one, you can see the hamon. It's differentially heat treated, so it's a little bit softer on above the hamon. That's the hamon line right there, and then it's a little bit harder below on the cutting edge. Just a beautiful knife. This was a birthday knife from my wife a number of years back. Really great grip on this. Micarta, flat. It's kind of flat and broad, so it's not going to twist in the hand. But micarta stays nice and grippy even when wet, which might come up in the zombie apocalypse. I also like the way the knife, the way the handle broadens out. And so it allows you to kind of swing from back here and make use of that length while resisting centrifugal force. Centrifugal force. That force that happens when you swing something. And then look at that tip. I will end with the tip. It is such a sturdy tip. Widens out. That swedge ends right there at the very tip. Super sharp. And by the way, that's 1095 blade steel, so easy to take care of in the field. You just have to make sure that it's also coated, so it's not going to rust as easily, but you got to take care of it. Wild Pig Hunter. It's a great knife and overlooked frequently in my collection anyway. All right, next up. There's going to be a few Cold Steels in this list, but I have them spread out. Next is the Cold Steel Magnum Tanto 12. 12-inch Tanto here would make a great zombie apocalypse grab and go knife. Okay, so just from the perspective of utility, I will just echo what the great and powerful Lynn Thompson has said in the past many times. There are many things you can do with a large blade. See. You can do everything you can do with a small blade with a large blade, but not vice versa, basically. So this knife to me is the way to go because it's the longest of the Tanto versions. So you get the longest span of cleaving surface. If you're going after the head of a zombie, this is definitely great for that. It's also not a very broad blade. Not a very broad blade, so there's not as much material to go through whatever you're cutting. So this zips through stuff. And then you've got a hollow grind, so it's really thin behind the edge, most of that edge. And this is a Sanmai VG10, I believe, VG10 Sanmai. And you can see where the steels separate right along the edge. So this one also has a real sturdy tip in that triangular flat ground tip. And this knife has been proven time and time again. It's been out since 1980 in one form or another. And in that time, it's just proven to be super duper heavy duty. That's the word I'm looking for. Super heavy duty. And with the length, you're good to go because you can take care of everything you need in a zombie apocalypse with that length. But also as a fighter, if you have to fight humans too, you've got that great secondary point, which you can use percussively, kind of hitting like a drumstick. And you can create really massive, deep wounds with that, V-shaped wounds. So all in all, just a great knife, but nice and slender too. You're not going to get too hung up on it with it. Also, craton grip, so good even when wet. This is a pretty good one, I gotta say. The Magnum Tanto 12 from Cold Steel. Next up, a double edge, also intended for hog hunting. This is the Sow Catcher. Nice name. I like the name. The Odin Wolf Sow Catcher. D2 blade steel. You've got two recurved edges. So really nice for slashing and cutting and chopping. Even though this is a pretty light knife, you could get some chopping done with this, especially with the use of a lanyard. Double-edged, it's got this fuller down the center, which again creates sort of an I-beam effect. So nice and stiff and rigid is this double-edged blade. Also, I got to mention, this one is just a cool looking knife. It's got a really great profile on both the edge and on the guard and handle. It's sort of a coffin-shaped handle, widens slightly as you get to the back. It's rubberized, but stiff rubberized. It's not as soft, we'll say, as the craton on the Cold Steel handles. But you still get a grippy effect. It's jimped everywhere, jimped there, jimped here, knurled on this surface. So really great grip on this. And then you've got that double edge. Not too many double edge on this list. Double edge is great for fighting humans. I'm not sure if it's as important when fighting zombies, because pain is not an issue with a zombie. And I feel like the secondary edge on a double edge knife is often for secondary cuts and transitional cuts and the pain application more so than the coup de grace. But I could be wrong about that. It also obviously a double edge makes it a better thruster, but that's why we get swedges. That's why we have a nice swedge. So double edge in a survival situation. I know, like I said up front, this is not a survival knife that I'm talking about here, but as a secondary, it will require that sort of use from time to time. And a double edge is probably the less safe. But a really, really great knife, great sheath, inexpensive. Some of the knives on this list are expensive. This is not, and it's easily attainable on Amazon. And this company, Odin Wolf, makes some other really cool looking outdoors and hunting knives. Next up, from Spartan Blades and Bill Harsey Jr. is the Spartan Harsey Kukri. And this is what I was talking about before when I was talking about the new KA-BAR Slabby sheath. It looks like it has one of these. So this knife you are not pulling out unless you push this. And I don't like that, because there might be cases where you can't reach it, or you just, for whatever reason, you just need to pull out the knife. But anyway, we'll talk about the knife itself. This kukri I love because it's got the kukri edge. It's got that deep descending recurve with the belly, but the way it's set up on the handle, it's not so curved overall. The point is just below the center line, so it's a good knife for thrusting, but of course it's got that sinuous recurve, which is great for chopping and lopping things off and cleaving. And this would be great for all of those things. Super robust. Oh, there, I said it again. Super durable, full tang construction here. That's 1095 Crovan. Spartan blades. And then this little tree there, that's William Harsey's Maker's Mark. That's a William Harsey handle all day long. I love the way that looks, but I also love the way that feels. Think of the old Gerber Rock fixed blade you could get at Walmart a long time ago. Had the same exact handle. He designed that knife. The Defensa has that handle. Just a really great handle. But it's also great from this aspect too. You can see it has a big palm swell, and then tightens up right before the flare at the pommel. making it a really nice chopping knife without being over committed in terms of the contouring and the designing of the handle as a chopping knife. So this knife does a lot and straddles a lot of contradictions. It's a kukri, but it's relatively straight. You know, it's got a great handle for chopping without being over committed in the contouring and the bird's beak. It's got a lot of contradictions, but that's what makes it great. Quarter inch thick. This thing is awesome. I would love to get its brother with the clip point blade called the Fighter. Came out the same time as this and the Nesmuk. Overall, I like the sheath. It's just that thumb release thing that sticks in my craw. All right. Oh, let's see. One more. Let's see. Oh, no, two more. Three more. Sorry. Here we go. Next is the Marcaida Cortada. I kind of went out of order there. The Marcaida Cortada. This one is a fighter all day long. It's like a knife version of a Gununting with that downward angled, that very low tip and the downward angled edge. However, this edge is straight. So you get the benefits of a straight edge with that downward curve, you know. A Gununting has a sort of sickle shape. This has that on the spine, but has more of a sax edge on the cutting edge. So you get great chopping, shearing, slashing, and tip cutting power with this knife. Also, I dare say you could sharpen that swedge. I'm not going to, but I always thought it would be cool to. This is a great thrusting knife with that point. You don't have to change the angle of your wrist much to get it to go where you want it to go because of the downward angle. You do have this jimping here, which would be fine if you have heavy duty glove on, but it's really aggressive, like super aggressive, which makes me believe it's not really jimping for the thumb. It's more a surface for trapping. If you're using this in reverse grip or even in forward grip, there are moments in Filipino knife fighting where you find yourself trapping your opponent's limb. Sorry about that. Trapping your opponent's limb with the back of the blade momentarily. It's like a half beat thing to get you to go somewhere else and to get that person to do something else. But while you're trapping, it's nice to have that aggressive serrated surface, basically. So a great fighting knife. I think this would be awesome for the zombie apocalypse because you could stab brains or you could lop them off all day long with a relatively short 10-inch blade. Also, the handle, super comfortable. You could hold on to this all day long while swinging and chopping. Leather sheath, good leather sheath. A dangler. I always thought the dangler was a little odd for this knife. It seems like something that you would want to stick in your belt. Let's see. Second to last here, Cold Steel. It's a big one. This is the Chaos Kukri. Chaos is the line that has this sort of hand protection. So let's put this, I'll just set this thing down. So kukri, of course, a kukri had to be on this list again, at least a more traditionally shaped kukri, which that blade is, more traditional than the Spartan Harzi. This one, even though it is that tip is so off center, it is somewhat easy to thrust with. You just hold your hand more vertical. But an incredible chopper, nice long 12-inch blade, a great chopper. This aluminum cast handle setup is great. It's very comfortable. It doesn't, there's only one separation, so you don't have to worry about sometimes when the fingers are separated into 4 different holes on a knuckle duster, it's uncomfortable if it's not fit to your hand well. This kind of precludes that by just having one partition between the swear word finger and the ring finger. And then you have a noggin knocker in the back, which is would present a pretty severe divot to any skull. Maybe might even get into a zombie brain. Not sure. But The hand is totally protected while you're swinging at these gross things. Not only that, but you can punch someone in the face with it. You can do a lot of damage with the hand guard itself, the duster itself. This is SK5, I think, steel. So it's going to be a tough carbon steel. Just have to watch out for the rust. But you're good to go. Easy to resharpen and tough. All right, last up from Worktop Gear. Yep, the V44X Bowie. Now, I vacillated heavily between this one and the Predator Hunter Bowie, the Puzon Predator Hunter Bowie, which is bigger and even more dramatic than this. But ultimately, I decided on this because, frankly, it's just a little more wieldy. But you get, there's a negligible difference. You get maybe 2 more inches of blade with the other one. So it's still a substantially bigger blade, but I'm not so sure that I would benefit from it because it is heavier. The handle is thicker. The whole thing is heavier and longer. I might fatigue sooner with that knife if I have to make my way through a crowd of zombies to get to a safe haven. This, I think I could swing for longer. Let me put it that way. But overall, a better survival knife too, just because, like I said, a little more wieldy. You've got this incredible chamfered choil here that I really like. You have a 90-degree spine up to here. They chamfer it right here, and then beyond that, 90 degrees, so you can strike your ferro rod. You've got a nice fuller there, lightening the blade a little bit, but also making it rigid, more rigid. You've got an incredible tip here, very sturdy tip, but also very acute, right down the center line. A nice scooped clip will give you a good snap cut if you need it, or back cut if you need it. And overall, very, very comfortable and great knife. It also, the sheath plays into it too. The sheath on the Puzon Predator Hunter is a taco, so it has no grommets on top, but it's so big, you kind of want to have it on a strap. So that's another thing about this sheath, this knife that I like better, is the sheath. Even though it's the size of Texas, it's so big, it has grommets on top, so I can hang it on a strap. Because this and the Puzon Predator Hunter, they need to hang around your neck. They're just going to pull your pants down otherwise. And you can't have your pants around your ankles and make your way through a crowd of zombies. All right, thank you for joining me on this very important discussion of this topic. I might do a folding version of it. Not sure. We'll see. It'd be a lot of cold steels on that, so it might not be worth the time. But thanks again for joining me. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, Thursday, third Thursday of the month, for our Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway. All right, for Jim working his magic, for Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying until next time, don't take dull for an answer.
Thanks for listening to the Knife Junkie podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review at reviewthepodcast.com. For show notes for today's episode, additional resources, and to listen to past episodes, visit our website, TheKnifeJunkie.com. You can also watch our latest videos on YouTube at TheKnifeJunkie.com/YouTube.